Okay, our next function is a function to find the best score for a given student. So let's go ahead and uncomment this. We're going to, let's take a look at our other picture here so we know what we're doing. So the question I'm trying to answer is, we're going to get a number of a particular student, 0, 1, 2, or 3. So when we get done, we'll just be looking at one of these student structs. And what we want to do is we want to go in, we want to look at each one and see if we have found the highest score yet. So the algorithm for this is you just look at the first one, item 0, and you say, well, that's the biggest one I've seen so far because it's the only one you've seen so far. And then what you do is you compare it with the next one, and if this one is bigger, then that's the one that you save. If not, you don't do anything. You just go to the next one. And every time you find one that's bigger, you copy that over into your biggest variable. And when you get all done, whatever's in the biggest variable will be the biggest one that was in the list. So that's what we want to do. We're going to get past one. Actually, we're just going to get past one array. We already know which student it is, so we can pull out the student record. And when we pull out student record, then we can pass in the array. And so again, this is kind of like finding the average a couple of videos ago. All we had to do was pass in one array of integers and go through that and find the average. Here all we have to do is pass in one array of integers and we're going to find the largest. So let's flip back over. So we're going to write a function called max. So actually, let's back up a little bit here. I want to display the score for which student. They will type in a number that will be read in as a string. I need to convert that to an integer and store it in student number. It needs to be a number between 0 or 3 or we'll have a subscript error. And then I print out the best score for the student and I give the student number. And then I'm going to call a function called max and I'm going to pass in, I'm going to go to the student array. I'm going to pull out one element. And then I'm going to go to that one element and I'm going to pull out the score, which is an array of integers. Okay, so the max function is relatively straightforward. Let's scroll up a little bit here. So it's going to be static, and we're going to return an int. And all we're passing in is a list of numbers. So I'll just call it list. So we need to find out how many items are on the list. So let's do int list size equals list dot length. And then I want to have another variable, and I'm not going to call it max because that's the name of the function and it gets confusing when you do that. So I'm going to call it big. And I'm going to set that equal to the first item on the list, which is going to be list item number 0. And then what I do is I just want to look at every other item. So for int I equals 0. Actually, I don't need to go to 0 because I've already looked at 0. I've put that into big, so I can skip that and start with item number 1 on the list and see if I is less than list size. So this will let me look at every item on the list, and what I want to do is I want to check to see if this item, list sub I, is bigger than big. Then I want to save it in big. So big gets the value that's in list sub I. And I'll do that for every single item on the array. And then when I get all done, whatever's in big is the number I want to return. Okay? So let's go ahead and run this one now. And we still need to answer these questions at the beginning. Average, test number 1. And now I want to know the best score for which student. So I'm going to pick a student here. 0 and 3, it's the very first one. Let me pick somebody where it's not the very first one. Let's try number 1. His score should be 85. And it is. Okay. This is, the test average we did down here was pretty specific to the problem because we were dealing with student structs and they had a name and they had an array of integers and so we were kind of we kind of need to know a little bit about a student struct and an array of student structs in order to be able to solve the problem. This solution, though, all it requires, because all we're passing in is an array of integers, all it requires is that we know how to find the biggest number in a list of integers. So if there's any other time where I need to find the biggest number in a list of integers, this is the function that I could use. This is not at all specific to anything about student struct or the list of student structs.